Most people think XRP is dead money right now, but billionaire money, global banks, and liquidity data are quietly telling a very different story. And the strange part is this: the more pain retail feels, the more this entire setup starts looking intentional. Not accidental, not random, intentional. Because every single time retail feels the most uncomfortable, that's usually when positioning is happening behind the scenes. And that's where we need to start, because most people completely misunderstand how smart money actually operates. Everyone thinks institutions just buy a dip and wait. That's not how this game works. Institutions don't chase green candles, and they don't panic on red ones either. They prepare infrastructure before price ever reflects it. Now let's talk about something that flew completely under the radar for most people. A company tied to Peter Thiel entered into a master XRP loan agreement. Yes, a master agreement. Not to speculate, not to gamble, but to borrow XRP specifically for market-making activities. Let that sink in for a moment. They are borrowing XRP at around 5.5% interest, with a 4-year term, and the loan value actually increased as XRP's price rose. That's not a retail trade. That's not someone hoping for a pump. That's someone betting on future liquidity, relevance, and sustained usage. You don't structure deals like that unless you believe the asset will matter in the plumbing of the financial system. And it didn't stop there. In early 2025, they tapped into roughly $36 million through automated digital asset lending platforms. Adjustable, flexible, strategic lending. Again, this is not someone praying for price appreciation. This is someone preparing for infrastructure, positioning early before demand shows up on the chart. Price comes last. Infrastructure comes first. That's how every real financial transition has ever worked. Then we get Swift speaking publicly. And this is where narratives start breaking apart. People love to say crypto will never integrate with legacy finance. Except Swift just confirmed the opposite at a major conference. Directly, from the source. The backbone of global banking acknowledging digital asset integration. That single moment nuked one of the biggest anti-crypto arguments out there. Suddenly XRP's use case doesn't sound speculative anymore. It starts sounding inevitable. Quietly inevitable. Now this is where retail usually gets shaken out. And honestly, there's no reason for it. Evernote XRP losses. Yeah, let that sink in. Evernote is sitting on approximately $200 million in unrealized XRP losses. $200 million. Meanwhile, retail is stressed because price moved sideways or dropped a few percent. Maybe you're down a couple $100, maybe 1,000. Maybe you're a whale and you're down $500,000. Evernote is down $200 million and they keep stacking XRP. Not selling, stacking. They are literally forming a treasury strategy built around XRP. And this isn't coming from some random source. This is tied to an ex-Ripple employee who previously leaked Amazon and Uber partnerships before they became public. He structured his company around XRP. You don't see him panicking over being down $200 million. So why is retail so emotional? Why are people so quick to doubt? Because retail focuses on price. Institutions focus on positioning. Unrealized losses don't matter when the asset is strategic. Treasury holdings are not treated like meme coins. They are held through cycles because they are built for infrastructure, not dopamine hits. This is the same psychological game every single cycle. Pain first, conviction second, expansion last. And right now, we are deep in the pain phase. Technically, things are getting extreme. All coins are screaming capitulation. We are seeing oversold conditions not seen since the 2025 tariff shock. Not the last dip. Not the last exchange blow-up. A global macro event. Historically, when markets reach this level of oversold conditions, they don't just drift sideways. They snap, violently. And here's a stat that makes people uncomfortable. XRP's RSI dropped to 0. Only the second time in history this has happened. No, this does not guarantee a pump tomorrow. That's not how markets work. But historically, when this happens, it signals selling pressure exhaustion. Everyone who wanted to sell already sold. Bears are out of ammo. That's how bottoms form. Not on good news. Not on hype. On maximum disbelief. And while charts are screaming exhaustion, global liquidity is doing the exact opposite. Global liquidity just hit a brand new all-time high. China injecting around $1 trillion weekly. The US quietly adding $30 billion. Japan approving $114 billion. India rolling out $32 billion. This is fuel. Markets do not move on vibes. Meme coins move on vibes. Real markets move on excess liquidity searching for return. And crypto is still microscopic compared to global capital flows. That's what makes this next phase so dangerous for people who are not positioned. Now let's talk about the timeline everyone loves to mock. The 2026 bull run schedule. December accumulation and boredom. January Bitcoin rally. February alt season. March final bull trap. April tax season nuke. May bear market. Bottom sometime late 2025. People laugh at schedules until they realize human behavior repeats. Cycles rhyme. Maybe it's off by a few weeks. Maybe it's not perfect. But the structure repeats far more often than people want to admit. Leverage already paid the price. Market makers see leverage because it's public on-chain. They know exactly where longs and shorts sit. They know the exact levels required to flush positions. In 2025 alone, over $154 billion in leveraged crypto positions were liquidated. That's not weakness. That's cleansing. Leverage flushes always happen before large moves. Forced sellers get removed. Narratives reset. And adoption keeps spreading. Tens of millions of new crypto holders across Asia, Africa, and emerging markets. This is no longer a niche trade. It's a parallel financial system growing while the legacy system strains. While Western media debates risk, the rest of the world is opting in. Bitcoin is quietly vanishing from exchanges. Exchange reserves are dropping. Cold storage is rising. Available supply is shrinking. Miners cannot keep up with ETF and OTC demand. Supply shock is back on the table. And supply shocks don't announce themselves. They don't warn you. They just happen. And once they do, it's already too late to react. So let's connect the dots. Billionaire-linked firms borrowing XRP. Swift upgrading for digital assets. Institutions holding through massive unrealized losses. Altcoins historically oversold. Global liquidity at all-time highs. Leverage flushed. Bitcoin supply drying up. This doesn't feel random. It feels engineered through patience. Not financial advice, just pattern recognition. And history has never been kind to people who ignored patterns because they were too busy watching price instead of positioning. Disclaimer: this content is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Cryptocurrency investments are highly volatile and involve risk. Always do your own research and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.